Hey guys, so I just want to engage quickly with a comment that I really enjoyed. So I'm going to read it for us. It says, I'm a Muslim who believes in the new narrative, which is actually pretty old. It's not really a big deal. There is a minor amount of variation, some of which is from early Muslims reciting by meaning and not memory. It's not an issue because Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself approved of it as the narrations show. Yes, many Muslims will be offended by this reality, but once the knowledge is out, it'll still stand tall over the Bible. It will also be superior to secular humanism in providing people with grounding and purpose. You seem very excited and obsessed over people you don't belong to. Fascinating. Some people are like that, obsessing over others like anti-Semites, etc. No issue, of course. A few Muslims will get perturbed and annoyed, and some will apostatize, but whoever does will have replacements, and we aren't going away anytime soon, and neither are the core tenets of the faith and principles. Have fun with your short term on earth. It's your paradise compared to where you're headed. So I just want to engage with this comment because I think it summarizes a sentiment that a lot of Muslims have about hashtag Qurangate and hashtag Bukharigate, which is basically, okay, whatever, like it's going to pass. Like we've had controversies before. Our classical scholars have accounted for this. Yeah, we've had hadith criticism before. We've readjusted the core tenets of Tawheed and the prophethood of Muhammad, and also the Quran are what are going to stand and what matter. And I just want to talk about this a little bit because I think it's a really fascinating argument. So first of all, what does Islam present as its like golden child, as its thing that they're most proud of? They present Tawheed, right? This idea of Unitarian monotheism. But the thing is, Judaism also believes in Unitarian monotheism, right? They have the same concept of the divine, right? And so then what makes Islam unique from these other religions? What makes Islam unique? It's Muhammad and it's the Quran, the man and the book, right? And so if those are the two things that make your religion unique, okay, let's talk about those two things. So Muhammad is the perfect example for all mankind. He is the seal of the prophets, according to Islam. And then you have the Quran, which is the preserved, uncorrupted book. But what Qurangate is saying is actually, wait a minute, this whole narrative that you've been told isn't exactly true. And I really thought it was so fascinating. She's right, or he, Rania, I'm not sure. This person is right. Like classical scholars have talked about this, about the Quran and the problems in its preservation, but it's never been talked about publicly to all the Muslim masses, right? It's always been sequestered away in an ivory tower. And not only that, it's now being talked about in a way where you're also seeing pre-Uthmanic manuscripts, right? I don't think Al-Jazari and Al-Tabari had access to the pre-Uthmanic Sana manuscript when they were having these debates, right? They didn't have access to that. And I don't think, as more manuscripts come out, these questions and these holes and these unanswered questions are going to keep piling up, and the doctrine of the Quran's preservation is going to keep having to evolve until you get to a point where, what is preservation? Is it just meaning? If you just believe the meaning is preserved, is that good enough? Is a dynamic Quran, the way Mufti Abu Layth says, is that acceptable? And if that becomes acceptable, what is going to be left of your reverence of the Quran, right? What's going to be left of your view of the Quran, and how is that going to affect the practice of the religion? So I agree, it's not about a couple thousand people or whatever apostatizing now because this revelation, and then being like, oh my goodness, I can't handle this. It's about the evolution of the doctrine of the Quran and how people are going to view the Quran in light of the continued historical criticism. So I want to make that clear to that commenter. And the second point about Bukhari is, this is how you get liberal Islam, right? This is how you get human Islam, right? Where you have Mufti Abu Layth saying things like, oh, smoking marijuana, is that haram or not? Like, oh, Aisha was 19 years old. All these things are changing, right? Based on your reading of Bukhari, based on your reading of the Hadith, based on your theology, based on your paradigm of what Hadith you accept and why. And so how do you reform Islam? The people who are trying to push for this kind of feminist reform and women empowerment in Islam, how do they do it? They went after the Hadith. They went after the Isnad. They went after the narrators, right? So reforming Islam is going to come through the Hadith. And what we're going to see with Bukharigate is these questions are going to be asked, like, what do we actually know about Muhammad, and what do we actually know about Islam, the way it was practiced, and what actually is Islam? And then what we're going to find is people are going to deal with that how they want. You're absolutely right. I'm not saying that Islam is going to collapse. I don't think, it's a very, very large religion, very robust culture, and very, very, very important to millions of people. But the question is, how is it going to change? And the way it changes is going to be just as important, because for many people, if it changes too much in certain directions, it's not even going to be Islam anymore. Okay, guys, please leave your comments down below. I would love for Rania, whoever that person is, to interact again. I really appreciate it when Muslims comment. I really appreciate that, because it just brings such a different perspective, and it really helps me to understand, what's going on. So thanks so much, guys. Would love to hear your comments, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.